In a Senate Health Committee hearing yesterday, HH Secretary Robert Kennedy assured senators that he has ordered a complete review of the chemical abortion drug mifepristone. This was ordered after the discovery of alarming data which reveals the drug's potential to incur serious adverse effects is higher than previously reported. Now, this is certainly a step in the right direction as we fight to protect unborn life and to support and defend the right of states to protect women and unborn babies. But the question is, how did this mail order abortion drug become so prominent despite the uncertainties surrounding it? Well, here to discuss this, Mary Szoch, the director of the Center for Human Dignity here at the Family Research Council. She is also the author of a new publication from FRC entitled Mifepristone and the Comstock Act. Mary, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thanks for joining us.
It's an honor to be here, Tony.
All right, let me first start with this. Let me get your response to RFK Jr.'s pledge yesterday to relook at mifepristone.
I was thrilled with that pledge. Mifepristone was approved in a politically motivated approval. It has never been thoroughly tested, and we have seen the damage that it has done to countless women, and the number of unborn children's lives it has taken. And for the Trump administration to adequately govern and protect the citizens of America, especially women and the unborn, they do need to revisit this and hopefully revoke its approval.
Now, he said in his testimony yesterday that this was ultimately up to the White House. The White House would make this decision on it, but that, and he was pressed on this by Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri, would he make a recommendation based upon the research, based upon the facts? And, just a recent report that was out is very clear that this has significant side effects and risk for women.
It absolutely does. We know that the recent data shows that almost 1 in 11 women have a serious adverse event like hemorrhaging, like the need for a blood transfusion, sepsis, the need for a surgical abortion following the use of mifepristone to remove whatever was left in their uterus. We know that this drug is dangerous for women, and if we're actually following science, America will acknowledge that.
All right, Mary, so you talk about this in your publication, which folks you can get, go to tonyperkins.com, and it's there as one of the resources on today's program. But this was politically motivated in its approval. This was through the Biden administration, and there are really two aspects of this. One, to drop the in-person interaction between a medical personnel and the woman that this would be prescribed to. And then secondly, to facilitate that was the government's failure to enforce the Comstock Act. Explain that.
Well, under the Biden administration, they used the COVID health crisis as a means for removing that in-person dispensing requirement for mifepristone. That in-person dispensing requirement allowed for some modicum of safety measures for women receiving this drug. It allowed for the abortionist to determine what the gestational age of this woman was, to determine if she was reporting signs of ectopic pregnancy. It didn't actually allow them to rule out an ectopic pregnancy because that can only be done through the use of ultrasound, but it did allow them to find out if there were symptoms of it. And it allowed them to interact in a face-to-face way in the event that there were any complications while using the drug. But the Biden administration removed that requirement and simultaneously issued a Department of Justice opinion stating that this drug could actually be sent through the mail, and that it could be done so legally, which is a clear violation of the Comstock Act, which says you cannot mail anything that is going to be used for an abortion. The Biden DOJ said that as long as the sender didn't know that it was intended to be used for an illegal abortion, it would be okay to send this through the mail. And this is something the Trump administration must reverse. That opinion has to be overturned.
So, I mean, there's a real simple solution here. I mean, there's two aspects to this. One, if the FDA were to go back to the previous protocol that would require in-person dispensing, because there are some serious consequences if a woman is further along in her pregnancy than she might know or might report and take the abortion pill. If they go back to the previous, I said, in-person dispensing, that would eliminate this issue. Secondly, as you pointed out, simply enforcing the Comstock would prevent abortionists like in New York mailing abortion pills into like my home state of Louisiana that has very strong pro-life laws, which is, it's not theoretical, that's actually happened.
Right, and we know that at 10 weeks gestation, mifepristone has a 7.3% failure rate to complete an abortion. That means that there are retained fetal parts in there. There's maybe part of the placenta. Who knows what else? Just recently, as you alluded to, Tony, in Louisiana, an abortionist from New York mailed abortion drugs to a woman who was 20 weeks pregnant. If the failure rate at 10 weeks is 7.3%, I can't imagine the danger that woman's life was in at 20 weeks.
Wow.
Not to mention the tragedy of the death of that unborn child.
And it could be solved immediately if the Trump administration goes back to the policies that were in place prior to the Biden administration. Mary, thanks so much for joining us. Always great to see you.
Thanks so much for having me on.